What's going on YouTube? Earth Power here with CVH.
How's it going, everybody?
We are here with another match in the 2023 Season 1 bracket tournament using the Finnish meta to find the best deck uh, with a 40 card maximum in a ban list. So, you want to tell the people what we have for them today?
Yeah, you can see the bracket right now on screen without any results yet. You can see that Wave Strikers and Pegasus already faced off. We don't have the results on screen. We didn't want to spoil it, but if you haven't seen that match, check it out. It was posted earlier in the week or maybe last week, depending on when you're watching this. And today we have Light Dark Fire Nature Phal Control versus Wise Starnoid.
Sorry.
What happened?
If you guys are following this tournament at all, let us know if you're fine with us posting the results. Because these matches are going to start going up at about this pace that you're seeing them at now. Where the two profiles come up, we play the top 8 or top 16 match, and then after that, we're going to be posting 2 to 3 of these matches every week. So as long as you guys are fine and you think that's enough time to watch these matches and not get spoiled, as long as you're watching them in order, you should be fine. So.
Yeah,
Leave a comment down below. Let us know what you think of that strategy if you're fine with us posting the results as we go down the list for these.
Should we jump on in then?
Yeah. So let's take the people to it. So we have CVH on the left playing Phal Control. Spencer playing Starnoid. Our version of Starnoid runs the Craze engine, which you guys can see in the profile, which will be linked below, as well as the list for Phal. And yeah, just talking about these decks, I think on the top, Starnoid is another one of those where we've played it in the past. It's not untested, but this version of it, we opted for a more tempo's not the right word, but we found this mix of control and aggro suppression with Starnoid where we could play both lines and the deck still felt healthy, I guess, for lack of a better way of saying it. You can probably clean up what I'm trying to say a little bit better.
Yeah, I'd say tempo's pretty close to accurate, if not just accurate. The deck can't just dirtle forever unless it's up against something aggressive that it really stabilized against. And even then, like, its win condition does involve double breaking. It has no way to avoid shield triggers. So we basically just hadn't tested it since we started playing this 40 card meta with the ban list. So it was more of a conceptual thing like 8 years ago. We got really excited about it because we weren't playing other decks with shield regeneration. We weren't even really playing Sky Sword, which is funny because Phal Control, the reason we're playing these colors is because you can play all the mass removal in fire, and the Sky Swords help you get the shields back against aggro decks as well as ramping to your Lost Souls and your Apocalypse Vice and stuff. So it's pretty funny. We're playing a deck that, we played because Skysword wasn't in our meta against a deck that we're playing because of Skysword.
So it's neat. So look at the line I guess you're playing right now. It's more just the anti-aggro, right? Like your goal is not to overcommit to the board. Obviously you want to see Bronze Arm Tribe early. But I mean at this point if you can just keep them off with shields, like Phal's whole idea is get to turns 7, I say get to turns, get to your 7 to 9 mana range where you can just start toolboxing your deck and dealing with everything they're trying to play at any given time. I think one of the realizations that we came to with Starnoid, as you'll see as this match progresses, is that Starnoid in this control matchup is basically just a -2.
Yeah.
More often than not. I mean, obviously, if you're on tempo, playing it with another dude or two on board feels good because it's big and it's something that's hard to deal with. But Phal doesn't really care if you're getting shields. So, the -2 there just makes it easier to have the tear pit, where come to find out. Christian, did I lose you?
I'm still here. I don't know what's happening. Are we good? I think we're good.
Yeah, we're good. You're I don't know if your internet's holding up for this.
Yeah, it's the same as it always has been. But
which is wild. I don't know. I feel like I lost you for a minute. I don't know how much of my thought process you heard there, but
I heard
Just
most of it,
maybe
yeah.
talking to.
You were just talking to YouTube.
Fair enough.
OBS heard you even if I didn't.
I guess we'll hear it on the playback when we come back, see if this is usable or not. So
Yeah.
a
I
little bit
will
of fun.
say,
Hopefully,
Spencer's Curve this game, I didn't really talk about it, but like the Emerald into the Magris and the Illusionary Merfolk, wasn't easy to deal with. You know, that's a lot of card advantage that he was getting.
well, it's
And that's kind of what
interesting
you want
here
to see
too.
against control.
Spencer had what? He was that. Did he just play the Merfolk that turn? Maybe I missed it, but like, why not swing there on your open board?
That is a
Oh,
good
there he goes.
question.
Okay,
There we go.
you got it. You got
Yeah.
it.
That's exactly what we
Yeah,
were talking about in the moment.
yeah, yeah. Love to see it. All right. The old Terror Pit. Love them Japanese alternate art cards. You're gonna be seeing a lot of these in future videos, guys. Stay tuned.
Yeah, if you see them and you don't know what card they are, I'm sorry. Carl just loves alternate art cards. Like this one, Sky Sword. There we go.
Yeah, there's the shiny Sky Sword alt art. Love it. Love to see it. But like, see how that card makes it. Now I guess not difficult for Spencer. I mean, obviously he can still break 2 shields on this board, but like the Sky Sword just made it to where he just can't necessarily swing for game this turn. If he has the craze, that's cool. But like ideally, you have a trigger. But I guess craze is worst case scenario for you at the moment, and we've already seen one.
And does he have it? No, but he
He do
has a continuing to get wider board.
Yeah.
And here, like the only blocker is that's a Bloody Skeeto, by the way. It's Japanese alternate art. See, for here, I think maybe I would have attacked if I were him, right? Would you have attacked?
I think so. I think you break 2 shields. I mean, Sky Sword didn't put down essentially it. I mean, there's no way to know if it put down a shield trigger. So why not swing there, right? Like you're
Yeah, I
breaking two
can't
shields.
even on board
have
crack back against Emerald anymore because of the Taj Mahal, right?
The only thing I can think of as to not attacking is like I don't know how many cards are in your hand at the moment. So maybe that's a reason not to if you have
Yeah.
no cards in your hand. But
Now,
you getting back to
fortunately,
their pit,
yeah, this was really
yeah,
good. It worked out very well for him. Previous turn I had played Apocalypse Vice, he was sort of banking that I wouldn't have another one. I did have to double foul to get removal back, but I couldn't afford to play any removal that turn. And I think if I remember correctly, this is another discussion we have.
yeah, Spencer's playing a very slow game here, and I'm not sure that that's correct, especially now that you have APOC and Terror Pit.
Well, I think what
he's
we talk
losing
about
it.
here is, I think we're having a discussion here about maybe him playing Magris wasn't correct. I think you're like looking at his hand right now and I see a point. You seeing that?
Yeah.
I think this was the match that I remember you sort of encouraging him to just go for lethal, spot the lethal there because he has the tap.
Yeah. Oh. So that's a bunch of dogs. So and he has the game. Still, the only thing I can think of there is like, what did he draw with Libris? If because I don't know how checked into that game I was. Did he draw the Colon off the Magris?
I don't think so, no, because you mentioned it to him.
All right, fair enough. Because whatever card he drew, I don't think went back on the top. So
Yeah.
not that it ended up mattering, but this falls into that category, like you guys saw with the Pegasus deck. Is we're looking for optimal lines here, not necessarily to beat each other in tournament, because we're the ones piloting all these decks. We're just in it for the best show of what these decks can do. As yeah, sorry for the PC issues, guys.
Yeah, I'm checking into them. They can't see what I'm doing on screen, but I'm trying to figure it out. Task Manager says everything is fine, so I'm not really sure what's going on, because we're not even... I think it's maybe a connection thing, because I'm watching this live on Google. Sorry?
Instead of downloading it first.
Yeah. which I could have done, but I did this the same way last time, and it tended to work fine.
Interesting. Interesting. And the whole second half of that match ran perfectly, so don't really know.
Yeah, well, we'll probably be
So
fine, and I'll
Phal,
check into it before the next one.
um, Phal here is Phal's a tough deck to. Let's put that out there now at this point.
Yeah,
The mana choices are so critical, really. And especially just, the benefit of this bracket tournament and us playing it is that we kind of have a general idea based on the opening hand of what cards 2 mana, but even still, like Fowl's lines aren't for lack of a better word, I guess, consistent, um, especially early. So like putting down that Sky Sword early can be very difficult if Spencer ends up curving out, like maybe we want that Sky Sword back. But making sure that we have the mana to do the Belix is the other side of that. So your mana choices matter very much more, I think, with Foul uh, than Starnoid, especially in this matchup.
here's a card you want to see
The
though:
card,
the Cranium Clamp on turn
yeah,
4.
yeah, the old logic cube to do it.
Yep,
Feels good.
it's like running 3 of
Like,
them, but not really. And even
yeah,
though Spencer does have a couple cards, and he has maintained the board now, the Kalan was pretty strong, tapping down Belix, and I still have to figure out a way to deal with the pressure, but Foul's kind of the perfect thing to play on curve, and it
yeah.
ensures that I'll
You
probably be getting rid of the rest of his hand if he doesn't have Merfolk.
Yeah, you've hit a wonderful curve here. So Spencer top decking, not swinging with the Electro, mainly because that's his Cyberlord, right?
Yeah.
So wanting to keep that on board. Merfolk is a real card that can get Spencer back into this game at
Yeah, if
any
he had had
point.
it this turn, I would
Dealing with
still be in a pretty bad situation.
maybe, I mean, Clamp would still sting. Okay, all right, all right, yep, yep, yep. Forgot what Foul did there for a minute. Yeah, feels good. I mean, could just have been the turn 6 Forbush. Oh my goodness.
Oh my
Well, there's
goodness, it's a
Starnoid.
Starnoid.
There's an easy pit target if ever there was one. We're gonna
Yep.
look up how Starnoid works really quick because I think someone forgot. But yeah. So it's whenever it attacks and whenever it leaves the battle zone, it gets the shield off the top.
Yeah.
And yeah, that's just pretty good.
And the leaving the battle zone effect was just relevant because sometimes you can get rid of it without straight up killing it. I think
Yeah.
this might be a turn that I
This Yeah,
come to
I
regret.
don't think this is the turn you miss it, but
No, I think it
so
might be.
basically what we're gearing up to is Soul Swap's a really good answer to Starnoid. Um,
Certainly is,
and,
Carl.
and you even have the Logic Cube.
Yeah. So this
So
this turn, the reason I'm taking so long thinking about my turn is because what we know now, I didn't know then. I kind of maybe a little bit forgot that Soul Swap was such an amazing answer. Um, and I do have Nature Mana, as you can see. So I clamp and I cube. And the reason I'm doing it in that order is because I know whatever I'm cubing for, I'm not playing this turn. And turns out I could have just searched for Soul Swap and played that instead, which I'm doing now. I'm like, oh my goodness, this is a card in my deck. Boy, I really should have done that. And the reason we're not using take backsies here and like going back to actually Soul Swap it is because at this point I've played the Clamp and I've seen what's in Spencer's hand. So that does impact gameplay. That would be, a significant thing to go back on.
yeah, yeah, very much so. So um, I mean, this puts Spencer in what is a very favorable position here. Um,
Extremely.
and then we have the conversation of why not break the last shield.
Yeah, he should
And
definitely do that.
yeah, tough decisions out here in the streets, boys.
Yeah,
I
he's
don't
worried
know.
about his Magra staying alive, but I'm more worried about me staying alive.
Yeah, yeah. You're on your heels at this point, so
Yeah. At
let's
least we
make
know.
it as hard as
Yeah, we know Starnoid is not long for this world because I do have the swap. We know
yeah,
Magris gets attacked over. So all I need with the other potentially 5 mana I'll have this turn is to find an answer to Emerald. I'd really like it to not be in the form of just a blocker, because those get tapped pretty easily with Starnoid. So we'll see what I come up with. I think Soul Swap's
Yeah, and
definitely going to wind up being part of the equation here.
there's some benefit to this turn too, because I mean, Spencer at 5 mana, those clamps are proving to be difficult. Just in the way. So, um,
Yeah,
Spencer not having a hand won't be able to play mana. That being said, you do just give him 3, which is kind of cool.
it's a lot of mana.
A lot of mana. Yep.
And he
Remembering
keeps
how.
the Sarius up because Craze Valkyrie is a live top deck now. Fortunately, not one that he found, because I would have probably lost. My last shield gets broken again.
Gotta love it. Gotta love it. So now we get to see if Phal can toolbox its way out of this. If ever there was a deck to do it, this is the one. So the goal is to just keep him to one creature and just deal with it, every turn. So the
That's a good
blocker
turn.
here is there's no way for him to play the Evo and the Craze at the same time. There are no one drop initiates.
He also only has
So
one card in
now,
hand.
yeah. So now that's about the most ideal thing Spencer could have played for you to deal with. Just a blocker that can't necessarily attack, because this gives you a turn to just try to set up and the quote unquote free turn.
Yeah.
So
Because of all the shields he's generated, I know it's going to take me a while to win with Cryptic Totem. So my main thing right now is hopefully I can find another Sky Sword or another Soul Swap or something
yeah.
to try to get some shields and some stability while I build up a board and eventually Cryptic Totem him.
Yeah, Sky Sword and/or Phal into swap on the Sky Sword um, gives you essentially the quote unquote the free turn that I was mentioning. It says, hey, now it doesn't matter what he top decks, but because he's top decking, um, he'll never be able. He can't win the game as long as you can deal with every creature he plays every turn. Um, as long as you have a shield on board, you basically get 2 turns to try to mount some sort of setup, and I think that's what we're waiting on as far as being able to play the cryptic. And then this deck can just go wide on mana sometimes too, so it's not unreasonable for you to be able to play Bazagazil and cryptic in the same turn, which is cute, right?
Yeah, not at all.
Yeah.
This deck
Or in
can
this,
surprisingly burst an
12,
opponent down.
yeah, 12 mana with a cryptic and a terror pit. So now, because of Spencer's shield regeneration, all you need to do is just stick 2 more creatures.
Or Bazagazil.
Oh yeah.
And here we go. Cryptic Totem attacks, Bazagazil attacks, and we got the game.
1, 2, 3, and 4. Got him with the Sky Sword. Love to see
Yeah,
it.
I saw a Surfer down there too, so obviously Cryptic Totem is kind of a necessity in this matchup.
Yeah, absolutely. Talking about past iterations, we discussed it a little bit in the podcast that we put together on just our thoughts on the decks in this bracket tournament. But Phal used to run the Bomidius engine. When I say Bomidius engine, it ran a Velirica Bomidius, 1 Cryptic, and 1 Vaza. And we noticed just in playtesting this deck over the course of however many games we played it for, um, this deck goes wide with cards like Bronze Arm Tribe and Phal. Those cards don't do a lot in these type of matchups where if you don't have a finisher like Cryptic, those cards just might lose you the game by breaking the shield you don't want them to break. So, Cryptic is the answer for that. So, and that's why the finishing line ended up going to, I believe it's now 2 Cryptic, 2 Baza, without looking at the deck. And
And we're
we are
back for game 3.
there. It is.
Oh yeah, were you going to do it? Sorry.
No, you're good. You're good. It's still being weird and loady on my side.
Yeah.
I mean, do I sound fine? At least talking to you.
Yeah, we're good.
Yeah, love to see it.
Yeah.
People will love. All right, everything's going fine
Yeah,
now.
we're
So
doing good.
Spencer with early Emerald on curve, which is nice. The old Vesticle, the Oracle, and the
Down
mana
in
there.
mana, yeah, yeah. Spencer really doesn't
The
like that card. He was trying to cut one.
yeah, yeah, yeah. I mean, I see. Like I said, I think as we come to play this deck more, I think the realization is that Starnoid is just a card that goes -2 and has a relatively big body that's sort of annoying for other like aggro and tempo decks to deal with, but I don't know that it's good.
This is interesting. So Spencer actually doesn't have the follow-up play to Emerald and is
Yeah, yeah,
going in.
yeah. He hasn't seen a Holkus. I don't think. Not that I've.
Yeah, I think,
That
well, no, we
I
cut those, right? For like the extra
did we
Merfolk and the extra Magris.
did Holkus get cut? That's
Yeah.
that's fair.
I
Yeah, I
mean, he
guess
has
the three
Magris in
dot.
his hand. So he's got like,
Sorry, you're gone. If you're talking, I
oh
can't
no,
hear
I
you
stopped
anymore.
talking for a second.
Alright. Yeah, I'm never sure.
Yeah,
I'm very uncertain of just how things are. Um, you hit bronze on Trav on curve though, and that feels good, right?
I did. I would hopefully like to follow it up with something like a Sky Sword. That'd be pretty nice. Can't remember what my hand was. Um, at this point, I think is Spencer thinking about attacking with this Emerald. I don't know about that one because that
I,
means he definitely doesn't have Merfolk.
yeah, and I don't think that's it. I think you've already drawn. I'm pretty sure
Okay, okay,
we're
okay.
we're good to go with Spencer's turn. I
Yeah,
think
yeah,
it's
yeah.
just a choice on what mana is. Yeah.
Siding about mana.
Uh, I do remember this play. So, is this the one where we have a tough call here because it's your
Oh,
fire mana, that Crimson Hammer. And so we talking about like, do we need to take him off the Emerald to
yeah.
avoid getting hit with a Merfolk? And if that's the case, you have to mana the Crimson Hammer. And if you have Logic Cube in your hand, play it and hope to God it's not in the last four shields.
Yeah, I mean the alternative to this though is if I do whiff, I guess I can still search like Lost Soul and if that 2 turns. But
Yeah.
that's kind of rough too, because next turn I'm still gonna have to deal with, if he does have Merfolk, a pretty threatening board of a Magris and a Merfolk and an Emerald. So fortunately I just have it, so that means if he does have the Merfolk, it's gonna be dead this turn at least. It's very good for me. And we just get a mini Merfolk.
Which is also good. Interesting again why I
Oh,
think
that,
we're talking about
yeah.
whether or not to go in, but
Yeah, I mean, I think I probably would, just by default. Like, the only thing that he
based on
could be worried about
right,
is, like, a
I
Searing
can see
Wave
a
or Blizzard of
surfer in it.
Spears, right?
Right. Like those are the hard cards like to deal with if you're not threatening APOC next turn, but
Yeah, but they do
yeah,
that
so
anyway, so. Oh, there's a Terrapit. That's pretty
uh,
good.
love to see it. So the thing about Phal is like it's never gonna really play a card to make Surfer good next turn. Like if your option is to play a blocker, I think things are going poorly for Phal.
Yeah, I'm not playing Grand
But
Gear.
yeah, I mean the other option too is like, I mean Surfer in hand just means if you play a creature, he's bouncing it next turn and putting you off of it, which looks like that will be the play.
Yeah, I didn't have any real removal that sounded good this turn on a Magris, I guess, and I was just like, well, since I kind of have the time, I can go ahead and play this totem. I didn't really think that he would have another Surfer after seeing a couple in mana, because it is a card you would mana pretty quickly. So
Typically,
I
yeah.
was definitely hoping that Cryptic Totem would just be around to crack back on Magris or whatever I might need it to do for a few turns before I started trying to go for lethal.
Yeah, the mana choice is a lot tougher now. I see. I mean, Todd in hand means he can't play the Surfer this turn. He doesn't want to mana the Merfolk because that's just the card that gets him back into the game. But at this point, you're so many turns away from being able to make it relevant.
Yeah.
Like you're on the go face plan. So I think Merfolk is just the mana choice.
Yeah, unless he had an Emerald in hand too, and then on turn 7 he could go Emerald Merfolk, and that's pretty good, but it doesn't look like that's the case.
The double multi. He's banking on being able to play the Merfolk, which is odd. I don't agree necessarily with that play. Maybe looking back at it, like
He just would have gone Surfer and attacked.
I think so, right? Because like you're
Either
trying to
way,
out control the true control deck. So like I don't know that it's good. Like I'd rather just go face and make it hard for you to deal with things.
I
So
feel you. Unfortunately for Phal, it did have the Apocalypse and the Blizzard on deck ready to go, so now Spencer's just kind of out of gas, and
but that
that's
and that's the
wonderful
thing
to
too.
see.
Like, Surfer at that point means you have to go wide with maybe Blizzard because you won't just play the Cryptic at that turn because he's threatening lethal in 2 turns. So like the same play happens and now he just has the big boys in his hand. Like,
Well, since I had the
face
Apocalypse and the Blizzard, I guess it would have worked out, because I would have used one of them on the board of Surfer and Magris, then he would have played the multis the following turn, and they would have died to the other one.
right.
But I
So
mean, this
the
was
difference
worst case scenario for Starnoid here, because I did have both of the mass kills that I needed to deal with 2 waves of threats.
yeah, for sure.
And
For sure.
stabilizing at 3 shields is a lot better than stabilizing at 0 shields. I have tons of time here, and Spencer only has 5 shields this game, which is pretty funny to say, but it means it's a lot easier to kill with Cryptic. Potentially even a 2-turn kill would be fine. And I think that's
Yeah,
probably
and
what
I
I'm
think
gearing up for.
part, yeah, I was gonna say I think that's what part of the discussion is here. Because I mean, with Baza in hand, if you can find it, have it. It's just the game.
Yeah. I mean, even then, like, Spencer has limited answers to a Cryptic Totem. He
Right.
can't play
This
anything
is
as shield trigger, so he's going to have to, like, hard cast a Surfer or Corile. And that's not really the
or
highest tempo
that.
play.
I mean, yeah, and I mean that's the best play there would be the 2-drop into Craze to kill the Cryptic
Oh,
outright. But
true.
even still, that leaves you with 2 creatures on board. So
Yep. And I am going for it, because I think at this point I know that I can just deal with a Craze if he plays it, and I'll still have the ability to break the last shields with the Phals by themselves.
yep.
But if he doesn't have the 2-drop into Craze, or some other removal for Cryptic, he is toast.
An interesting call there too. Like, just to talk through it. Why not break the shield that he put down with the Emerald earlier? If you know you're going to be able to Cryptic at that turn, like, why not just give it to
Hmm.
him?
Good
What's the
question.
worst case in 3 servers?
Oh, no, we did talk about this, I think. It was because I didn't want to give him a Surfer in hand to bounce the thing. But I guess I wasn't even really thinking about the Craze potential. I just wanted to reduce the options for him to deal with Craze that turn. But I see
Gotcha.
now that that might have been flawed.
Yeah.
Because there is a real possibility that, like, if Craze does kill my Cryptic, I'll have to win with the Phals, and then I really wouldn't want to have a Holy Awe down or something like that. So yeah, I should have broken 2 other shields and then the tapped one for sure. Because now I'm just going in with these and hoping that's not a Surfer at this point. Turns out it wasn't. It was a Vess. It was a Vess all
He
along.
bluffed. He bluffed.
He really
Boy
hates Vess.
bluffed.
Yeah, and then Phal becomes it goes from Phal control to Phal beatdown. Sometimes it does that, you know? Phal's a pretty big card.
Love it. Yeah, we talk about here that like there is the potential to plane Starnoid.
Oh yeah. And just trying to get a shield trigger.
But I don't know that he has. Yeah, I don't know that he has any of the Cyberlord pieces.
Finally found Craze.
Yeah. So yeah, they all. So,
Yeah. Add the awe. And that about does it.
yeah, about do it does it. So thanks for watching, guys. Let us know what you think. Um, final thoughts on this are so the general consensus that we've got as we've tried to make Starnoid quote unquote relevant is that it's not very good. It falls into that category of like Bark Whip and Lancer and just some of the other bigger Evos that you would play on curve maybe, but don't really do a lot other than just -1 and create a bigger body. And while that's neat, decks like in this case, foul control, especially when decks like Starno don't hit their curve, they just become bad versus the control decks that can toolbox against them. And just in general, just some of the other tempo decks that do it without needing to go -2 to play the big thing. So,
Yeah.
that's general thoughts on Starnoid, and the common theme is Buttnoid, but we'll save that for another day.
Yeah, I can kind of
I can.
see why like Alzonius is more popular in other decks because Light Water is good fundamentally. It has a lot of high quality good cards and it gets to play Sirion, which then makes Merfolk very playable and very threatening on 5 against control. But the Starnoid payoff itself isn't super high. Craze is good, but like if you want another pressuring evolution to build around that's hard for control to deal with, actually good against control instead of being bad against control, I feel like Alzonius would be the direction there, and that's probably why they're all playing Alzonius instead of Starnoid. Kind of makes
Yeah,
sense when you
for
think
sure.
about it. Things to
I think
test.
future iterations of this, and you'll see the more control version of this deck in Marino coming up in this bracket tournament. But yeah, to share CVH's sentiment is just Water and Light have a lot of good tempo based cards and control based cards. So I think picking one of those lines, whether that's tempo or control, is just correct instead of trying to do both, which I think is where Starnoid, this version of the deck, I think falls flat.
Yep. Well, hey, Phal moves on, and to
Yeah.
spoil the last game, if you didn't see the Pegasus versus Wave Strikers game, cover your ears or just leave the video now. Phal will
Spoiler.
be facing. Phal will be facing. Let me bring the updated bracket up if I have it. It'll be up against Pegasus. Phal and Pegasus in the top 8.
Yeah, so stay tuned for that. We will finish our top 16 bracket. The next match being something I should have known ahead of time, but you can just tell.
Declotans. You
Yeah,
got Declotans versus Waterfire Rush.
coming up next, guys. So stay tuned, leave a like, and comment down below. Let us know what you think, and we'll see you guys next time. Peach.
Peach.